What we say? What we say? Baskahada. Name if it's I had seen it. You see it like one day.
Out of the blue, I'm not looking at
Yeah, I see it. I know where it's at. I just gotta see it. Miss J, Coco. Hey, you at home or you come to work or? More no. I'll wait for you to get here and I'm at your office, so I was just gonna ask you some questions. You got. More I don't know. All right, good job.
Stongon. Gaga. And we're all of you throughout the night. And we're going to continue where I stopped at from yesterday. And we're beginning to get into the second person singular past tense. And once again, I'm going to tell you this again. I know it seems to be repetitive, but always to remember to drop the letters ETV. Now, in this particular tense, you're going to add the letters ETSK, V, and KS, which is Edskunks. So, Gazam Legida would become Gazam Legid Skunks. Would become, that would be, once again, it would become Gazam Legid Skunks. It's talking about like you thinned in reference to gravy or tea or something of that nature. And then we go into the next word. Remember, always dropping the ETV. For this particular tense, you're going to drop the ETV. And you're going to add that ending that I just mentioned. And for ale jijida, it would become ale jijit skunks. Ale jijit skunks. It means like you started. Ale jijit skunks. And so I see that I made a little bit of a mistake here, and I'll correct that later. And then we go on to number 3. And this comes from the root word aslijida. That means like to turn off the lights or put out the fire or something like that. Aslijida, remember, dropping that ETV. And you put it on the ending,etskunks, on the end of it. And it becomes aslijid skunks. Aslijid skunks. And that means like you as a singular person that turned off the lights. And then we come to the next word, and it comes from fikhonida. Fikhonida. And that means to stop. And that word is going to become fikhonid skunks. Fikhonid skunks. That means you stopped. Now remember, always remember, you're dropping the ETV off of there and you're putting edskunks. For this particular tense, you're putting edskunks on the end of it. The next word is taken from the root word adiloyada. That means like to gather up things or to collect. So you're going to drop, remember, you're going to drop the ETV off of there. And you're going to put edskunks on the end of it. And it becomes adiloyad skunks. Adiloyad skunks. That means you gather things or you collect it. Adiloyad skunks. Now we're going to come down for third person. That's a person outside of you or I. And we're going to talk about past tense for that person. And remember, it's the same rule. We're dropping the letters ETV. And you're going to add the letters VNKS at the end, which is pronounced unks. Unks. And so, kazamlijida, the root word kazamlijida, when you drop the ETV and you add the other ending, which is unks at the end, it becomes kazamlijunks. Kazamlijunks. That means he, she, or it thinned the gravy or something like that. The next one, remember the root word is alejijida. Alejijida means like to begin or start. And you're going to drop that ETV once again. You're going to add the ending unks at the end. Alejijunks. Alejijunks. He, she, or it started. Alejijunks. And then we come to this number 3 down here. And it's remember this, the root word for this is aslijida. Aslijida. Once again, it means like to turn off the lights or to put out the fire or something like that. And you're going to drop the ETV off of there, and you're going to add the ending unks on the end of there, and it becomes aslijunks. Aslijunks or aslijunks. So he, she, or it turned off the lights. And then we come to the next one. Remember, it comes from the root word fikhonida. And this one is fikhonunks. Fikhonunks. Fikhonunks, and he, she, or it stopped. And then number 5 is coming from adiloyada. Adiloyada. And you're going to once again drop that ETV off of there. And you're going to add the letters VNKS, which is unks. And it becomes adiloyunks. Adiloyunks. He, she, or it gathered things, collected things. I know that I stated earlier about repetition, and that's what, in learning the Mvskoke language, you got to get really used to repetition all the time, practice and practice and practice. I've got a friend of mine, he sits back here and he knows about practice, and I think you studied mixed martial arts.
Oh, it was
Yeah. And he will tell you that he had to study mixed martial art. He used to work a job that was kind of had violence, and he was working as a security guard. And so that practice came in, it benefited him.
Yeah.
Benefited him very greatly. And guys, if you haven't heard this guy sing, and this guy's got a voice on him like you wouldn't believe. Well, I gotta brag on you, man. Gotta make an example of you. You know what I mean? But his singing came because of practice. Comes because of practice. And I imagine you didn't get that good overnight. You had to work at it. You had to practice everything.
Mvskoke, you know.
Yeah. Well, you had to practice a lot, and so, but anyways, with much practice, that's how you're going to get better. So that's why I'm being repetitive a lot on these things, especially when when I get into you'll always see the lines, you know, for first person, plural, past tense, or stuff like that. I'm kind of being redundant, but yet it's beneficial. Let's say if I didn't have these lines up here, then people go back and they might tend to forget about, practicing or repeating or whatever. Now let's go on to the next. Now we're going to get into the first person plural past tense. What I mean by first person plural is talking about we, like we did something. And usually in reference to like yesterday. So for first person plural past tense, always remember to drop the letters ETV and add the letters eons or the ending eons, which has the letters EYV and KS. Eons. So with that principle, we apply it to the root word because some legida. We're dropping that ETV off of there. And we're putting the ending eons in its place. Because I'm legions. Because I'm legions. That means like we thin gravy or we thin the tea or whatever. And forgive me if I kind of get these other two words mixed up sometimes. And then we come to the next one, and it once again it's derived from ale jijida. It means like to start. But when you drop the ETV off of there and you put eunks on there, it becomes ale jijiunks. Ale jijiunks. That means we started. We started. And then we come to the next one is aslijida. You can use that in reference to turning off the lights or putting out the fire. But when you drop the ETV off of there, it becomes aslijunks. And that means we can use it in this reference. We turn off the lights or we put out the fire. And we come to the next one, and it's fikhonida. That same principle applies. You got to drop that ETV off of there. And you put eunks on there. And it becomes fikhoniunks. Fikhoniunks. We stopped. And then we come to the next one, and you got to remember the root verb is adiloyada. Now, when you get into the dictionaries, you're going to find for the most part, it just mainly has the root words. And you're going to find in a lot of times that it doesn't have the endings on there or whatever. And so that's why it's so beneficial for you guys to zoom in on these classes. And now, going back to adiloyada, you're going to drop that ETV and you're going to put eunks on there. And it becomes adiloyunks. Adiloyunks. We gather things. Does anybody have any questions so far? Jason, you have anything else? Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Samantha wrote a question in the chat.
Okay. To answer that question, we stopped if it was, now a few seconds ago, from my understanding, you wouldn't use it just for a few seconds ago. You would use it like for, I believe for yesterday, but for a few seconds ago, it would be something different. And right now, I can't remember how that we would use it if it was a few seconds ago. But that wouldn't be used for like if it was just a few seconds ago in Mvskoke speaking. Any more questions? All right, we're going to continue. Now we're going to into we're going to get into second person plural past tense. That means like you as a group of people. And this is going to be you guys have done something maybe like yesterday or whatever. And so you got to remember to drop the letters ETV and add the letter add the letters ATSK, VNKS, and it's otskunks. And if kazumlijida becomes kazumlijatskunks. Kazumlijatskunks. That means you thinned, as in gravy or as in tea. Always remember dropping that ETV off of there. In this case, you're going to add otskunks on the end of it. And then the next one is this alejijida. Alejijida. And you're going to drop the letters ETV off of there, and you're going to put otskunks on the end of it. Alejijatskunks. You guys started. You guys have started. And I'm going to correct that definition later on, but and then you got number 3, which is once again the root word, aslijida. Aslijida. And you're going to drop the letters ETV off of there. It's going to become otskunks. Otskunks. Aslijatskunks. That's what it will become. Aslijatskunks. It's like you guys have turned off the lights, or you put out the fire or whatever. We come down to number 4 on that one. Fikhonida becomes Fikhonetskunks. Fikhonetskunks. You guys have stopped. Fikhonetskunks. Number 5, it becomes Adeloyatskunks. Adeloyatskunks. You gathered up things, or you collected some materials in reference to you guys. And let's kind of review just a little bit. Go back to where we started from today. Now for second person, singular, in reference to you, like you did something yesterday or whatever. If I put etskunks to kazumlijida and it becomes kazumlijatskunks, it's like you thin gravy or you thin tea. And then we got alejijitskunks, like you started. Now let's go down to the third person, singular, past tense. Got to remember, for this past tense, you're going to drop the ETV off of there, and you're going to add the letters V and KS. Now, all these past tense that I'm giving you is usually in reference to yesterday, from my understanding, like you did something yesterday. And then there's kazumlijunks, he, she, or it thinned. Kazumlijunks. Now let's go down to the first person plural, talking about we. And that's going to be with the ending eunks on the end of it. You're going to drop that ETV off of there, and you're going to put eunks on the end of it. And for kazumlijida, that becomes kazumlijiunks. because I'm legions. Now for the atskunks or atskunks, that's in reference to, you know, like you guys did something and you got to remember, you're going to drop that ETV off of there and you're going to put that ending on the end. Because I'm legion up becomes because I'm legiaskunks. Because I'm legiaskunks. Is there any questions? Any more questions up to this point? Jason, do you have anything?
I don't know, at the top, go down, scroll down. Richie, wait a second. We stopped. We turned off the lights.
Us legions. Yeah, us legions.
Okay, more now.
Okay.
Us legions.
Uh-huh. Us legions.
Now you go, us legions.
Mhm.
Now you go, they turn off.
Yep. Now we're getting into third person past tense, another for plural. It's like another group outside of you or I. And that has the tense of AKV and KS at the end, and that's aguns. Aguns. Now, if I put that on the end of the because some legida, dropping that ETV up, it becomes because I'm legiagunks. Because I'm legiagunks. Because I'm legiagunks. It's like they thinned. They thinned like gravy or tea or whatever. Then alegigida becomes alegiagunks. Alegiagunks. They started. They started. Number 3 becomes from the root word aslegida becomes aslegiagunks. 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 That means like they turned off the lights or they put out the fire. Aslegiagunks. Number 4, that root word fikhonida becomes fikhonagunks. Fikhonagunks. They stopped. Fikhonagunks. They stopped. Number 5 comes from the root word aliloyada. When you drop that ETV once again and you put that agunks on the end of it, it becomes aliloyagunks. They gathered things. They collected. Aliloyagunks. They gathered things. Okay, now we're going to get into the future tense verbs here. But before this, I want to kind of relate another story. Years ago, when I talked about my basketball coach, there's 2 of them. And man, they pounded us with drills and everything else. And well, my one high school coach, and his name was Lamar Armstrong from Eufaula. He was a very hard coach. He was very big about doing correct layups. I mean, doing layups, and he was big about it. You got to hit that layups. And also, he was very big about hitting shots right down by the basket. If you were down by the basket toward the side a little bit, and he was always big about using the backboard. I mean, he drilled it into us. Use that back. We even got in trouble if we didn't use the backboard. If we still made the shot, we still got in trouble. We didn't use the backboard. He wanted us to get used to that backboard. So get very used to dropping the letters ETV and adding these tenses, let it, and just practice it so much, let it become like second nature. And I will never forget when I played for Preston. We had a basketball coach that used to be a drill sergeant in the Army. And man, this guy was hard. He was tough. And he was big about knowing the plays. Really big about knowing the plays. And I get jumped on if I wasn't in a certain position at a certain time. If he caught it, I'd get jumped on. He'd be hollering at me or whatever. But he was a very good and a very effective coach. And we had to learn those plays like the back palm of our hand or whatever. And so, but all that practice made us very good. Once again, practice, 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 and practice. Repetition, repetition, and repetition. Now we're going to get into first person singular future tense. We're talking about the future. And the tenses are going to change for this particular tense. And so we're going to remember, going to drop the ETV. Now for first person singular future tense, you're going to add the letters ARES, which is office. Office. Because I'm legida, that root word, because I'm legida becomes because I'm lead office, because I'm lead office, because I'm lead office. Now this can be future later on down the road. This is I will thin gravy. The next one, ale gigida. When you drop that ETV off of there, and you're adding ARES on the end of it, ale gigatis. That's what it becomes. Ale gigatis. I will start. And number 3 is asligatis. Remember, dropping that ETV off of there. And it becomes, and you put ARES on there, but end of it, and it becomes asligatis from asligida. That means I will turn off the lights or I will put out the fire or whatever. Number 4, fikhonida becomes fikhonatis. Fikhonatis. Like if I'm coming up to a stop sign, I will stop. Fikhonatis. I will stop. Number 5 is adiloyatis. Adiloyatis. I will gather up things. I will take up a collection or whatever. Adiloyatis. And remember, you're always going to drop that ETV into this particular tense, and you're going to drop the ETV, and you're going to add the letters ARES. Now, there's other ways you can use, future tense or whatever, but this is the one particular tense I'm using right here. And you can use, and so you're going to drop ETV, and you're going to add the office at the end. Office. Now we come to second person singular future tense. Second person future singular tense, and it has the tense ending with, and it's pronounced etskadis, and then so you're going to drop the letter ETV and you're going to add etskadis on the end of it. So kazam legida becomes kazam lejetskadis, kazam lejetskadis, these, and that means you will thin the gravy, you will thin the tea or whatever. And then number 2 is ale gijetskadis. Ale gijetskadis. You will start. You will start. Number 3 is aslijida. Dropping that ETV off and then you're putting that tense ending that I'm talking about. And it becomes aslijetskadis. Aslijetskadis means you will turn off. You will turn off the lights or you'll put out the fire. Now this is, I'm talking about singular in reference to you. And then fikhonida becomes fikhonetskadis, you will stop. Fikhonetskadis, you will stop. And then number 5 becomes adiloyetskadis, you will gather things. You will gather things. And so we're going to go back just a little bit. Now for first person singular future tense, and it's represented by authis. So because I'm legion, that becomes because I'm legiothis. Because I'm legiothis, that means I will thin the gravy. Allegiathis, I will start. I will start. I might say Mahagatubo. Allegiathis, I will start school. I will start school. And I do plan to start back. I'm going to try to get in by next October, hopefully. I'm going to finish with a bachelor's, not a bachelor, but a master's degree. So wish me luck. So as legiathis, that means I will put out or I'll turn off the lights. Fikonathis, I will stop. Adiloyathis, I will gather things. Now we come to second person singular future tense, and we're going to review over this again, and it's represented by etskadis, because I'm legit, that becomes is I'm legetskadis, you will thin. You will thin. Allegijetskadis, that means you will start. Aslijetskadis, you will turn off. You will turn off the lights. Fikonetskadis, you will stop. Adeloyetskadis, you will gather things. Okay, now we're going on to the third person future tense at this very particular time. And we got, now you got to remember, for the first person singular future tense, once again, you're going to drop the letters ETV. And you're going to add the letters VRES, which is pronounced athis, at the end, or athis. And so doing that, you're going to take the root word, because I'm legida. I'm going to drop the ETV. And you're going to add athis at the end, because I'm legidis. Because I'm legidis, that means he, she will thin. Number 2 is allegitadis. He, she will start. Aslijadis, he, she will turn off. Number 4 is fikonathis. Fikonadis, that means he, she will stop. Number 5 is adeloyadis. He, she will gather things. Adeloyadis, now this is talking about singular right here. He, she will gather things. Adeloyadis. He, she will gather things. What you can do in your own times, you can take your dictionaries and try to find other forms of root verb words. You can take like Mvhayv and try to apply these tenses and then start forming your own sentences. Mvhayv means to do. And let's say if I wanted to say I will do something, I would drop the ETV off of Mvhayv and it would become Mvhayv. Mvhayv means I will do. Or you can take Hombida, Hompetv, Hombida. And so I might say, Humbathis, Humbathis. I'm going to eat. I will eat. Well, you guys have been a very good students this morning. Is there any questions? Any more questions? What I want to suggest is that you would really work on these on your own time and to really try to get it down. And so remember, practice, it does make perfect, or at least it'll make you help you to become better. And just keep going and keep going. And don't give up in learning the Mvskoke language. It's a beautiful language, very beautiful. I remember hearing my grandmother speak, and it was, I'll just let you guys know, back then I didn't really. That's good. I understand that you're saying you're happy that you've learned, that you're learning. So, yeah, that's good. That's good. And I remember hearing it all the time. My great grandmother would go to Indian churches, and man, they would speak and just talk and talk and talk. And I remember she'd pick up the phone and she would speak to I guess one of her friends, and they would just talk Creek. I mean, just go at it and go at it. Now, at that time, I'm going to be honest with you, I really didn't care about the language. I really didn't. I wanted to be something else other than just, I wasn't proud of being Native American at the time. But things have changed. I'm not that way now. And I try to diligently teach others what I know. And so I want you guys to keep learning. And I think tomorrow I'm going to finish with the last of this part, and we'll probably go into something else after that. Or we might just review tomorrow over this whole material. And so, but I want everybody to learn. I want you guys to learn. And it'll be a joy to hear young people speaking too. If you got grandkids, teaching them, and you guys teach them, and it'll be a joy to my heart to hear them speak. And so I think I'm going to stop right now, because if I do start it, well, I'm going to stop right here for right now, and we'll continue with the last part of this. And so I will see you guys tomorrow.
Mvhayv, it's a great class.
Thank you, ma'am.